Finding our seat, we settle into a time of quiet and stillness. Noticing sensations in our body sitting here. Note, where do you feel a sensation? Pressure or touch in some form? Commonly we'll feel it in our butt, sitting on the chair, our feet on the floor, our hands resting. What other areas do you feel right now? Just sitting here and noticing. Noticing the sensation of the in and out of each breath, rising and falling. And noticing when our mind wanders to thoughts and other sensations, hearing something perhaps, or a memory, or a plan, or whatever, we notice, oh, thinking. And for now, we're just going to let go of that, not go through the whole story it sends us into, but just let go and come back to the next breath. Perhaps we'll notice we're in a certain kind of mood. Perhaps tired or energized or interested or bored or calm or restless. Noticing that. Oh. Just sitting and breathing, not judging what's going on, just noticing for now. We may notice what we think or feel, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant. Or maybe it's just kind of neutral, and we just notice that. Oh. Even if it's unpleasant, we don't try to push it away, we just notice it and let it gradually fade. All these thoughts and feelings are temporary. They come and they go. What's left is just our presence here with each moment. And if it gets frustrating to try to let go of thoughts, they keep coming and coming, we just notice that. Oh, that's a little frustrating. Okay, that's what I feel right now. Okay. Just sitting and breathing. Here we are. Welcome to week 4 of Mindful Aging. To the many of you who keep coming back, thank you so much. And for those of you watching on TV, and I appreciate that too. I know some of you let me know if you can't come, and I know you've been watching it, so I appreciate that. The last couple of weeks, as you recall, we're talking about becoming mentors, and we are using the analogy of the Bodhisattva path, which might mean becoming mindful for the benefit of other people. And we explored friendships, how important for close friendships are, and we talked about ways of supporting our friendships. We worked on mindful listening, learning to really pay attention to other people. We last week we talked about kindness, and we did a compassion practice where we actively, in our meditation, wish goodwill, good thoughts for other people, and try to notice what they might be feeling. So that's sort of a visualization practice, you might say, where we see somebody else in our mind. And some people are particularly good at visualization. They are visual people. Some of us not as good, but it's still something we can work on. And we talked a little bit last week about service in the community and the different ways in which we go out there and we could become wiser and active in the community, trying to do something, and how that works. This week, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about and do a couple of practices on inspiration. Because on this path, as we get older, we certainly go through times that are not easy, that where we are kind of stagnant. We're just don't know what's coming next. We don't know what to do. We're bored, we're lonely, we don't care. Maybe we feel like that this week. Maybe we're even some despair. Oh, I'm lost. What next? And in those times, our creative energy is blocked. We're like in a hole. And one of the challenges of aging is to recognize these times and to try to cultivate openness and flexibility to go with the tide and to see what comes next, because there are certain ways in which we can enhance our this creative fire in ourselves. One of the experiences I've had with this in the past year is when I joined a choir. And I've had times, especially early on, but I still get it, when I'm part of that 4-part harmony, it just lifts me. I can hardly even sing sometime, I'm so moved, you know? I feel it. Oh. And so I realized that the arts, music, painting, whether we're seeing a painting or doing music or listening to it or doing it ourselves, or other kinds of art like pottery, architecture, poetry, theater, dance, all these things, whether we're actively involved in them or just as an observer, they have this capacity to inspire us, to open us up to what life has to offer. Chuck and Deb aren't here tonight because their children or child is in the play in Chilton tonight. And boy, I think they're being moved right now, in that way. There's been studies that show that fostering our creativity through the arts benefits us in several ways. They've shown this. Creativity strengthens our morale later in life. We're ready to keep going. It contributes to physical health. And they've shown that people involved in the arts are healthier. And in your handout, there's some evidence for that. You can look at that later. It enriches relationships because very often the arts are interactive in some way. And this one author that I've really been enjoying lately, this Angeles Arian, who has this book called The Second Half of Life. This is a serious and deep book, but it's simply easy to read at the same time. And she says that this creativity, as we get older, is our greatest legacy. So sustaining and fostering that creativity in ourselves is something we can intentionally do. This other book, Your Brain on Art, has a lot of evidence for the ways in which our brains benefit by being exposed and involved in the arts. So it's another thing I recommend. It's in your list, in your reading list, if you have time. Just think for a minute about what experiences you've had, what inspires you. When have you had this experience of being like opened up to what's out there, to being not just trapped in this little person, but opened up to the possibilities? Any ideas?
I just have to say about the music, and especially when you were talking about the 4-part harmony, the vibration is what really makes it unique, more so even than painting or anything else. That vibration is really
it's a whole body experience.
Yeah, and the air and everything. Not that I'm a musician.
Okay.
Well, but I like to dance in my kitchen.
Dancing in your kitchen, I love it.
I love music also.
Good.
And all types.
I love band concerts,
Mhm.
and the Kiel Municipal Band has one tomorrow
Yes.
night.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Oh,
I will be there.
oh, that's, I forgot that, good. Indoors.
That's right.
Well, I've got a little, little project for you. And this involves, two media. And it's, you're actively involved, so, you're gonna need a piece of paper, something to write on. And I'd like everyone to pick 3 colored pencils,
Oh.
and I have paper if somebody needs some. Probably unlined paper is best, so I have some here.
I need the lines.
Right.
Yeah. How can I make my box otherwise?
You can have lines.
Thank you. I'll go without lines, thank you.
And you can use your own writing instrument as well, but pick at least 3 colored pencils. So I'm going to try to play some music on that speaker right there. And this will last about 12 minutes, so there's plenty of time. I can stop it if we don't need all 12 minutes. So be patient, take your time. But I'd like you to listen and start drawing whatever comes to you. Whatever comes to you, just start. The music may present some kind of visual images or feelings or thoughts. You can write words if you want to, or draw or color or scribble, whatever comes to you, okay? We'll see what happens with this. If it works here.
What piece of music was that?
Anybody familiar with that?
Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony?
That's right, yeah.
It's pretty.
So
He was
what,
good.
what feelings came up during this? And maybe write them down on your paper. What did you notice? How do I feel after doing this?
Soothed to excited.
Excited
And soothed.
and soothed, yes.
From one to the other for me.
It's flowy.
Flowing,
Like waves.
waves,
Yeah,
yes,
I thought
indeed.
that too.
Yeah,
If I could just like paint something real flowing.
A little lighter brush.
Yeah, yeah.
so did you draw waves? How many of you had wave patterns? Yeah. What other images came up?
I thought of little children running through the woods and just having fun being in nature.
Yes,
That's what came to my mind, just being
did you
real happy.
imagine yourself running in nature?
At one time.
I imagined a couple ice skating to that music.
Yeah.
Through a forest scene, like winter.
Did you draw that?
I did.
All right.
It didn't start out that way, but that's what it ended up.
Well, if you want, anyone wants to share their artwork,
Yeah.
I didn't see any pictures,
No
you know, I
pictures.
must not be that kind of a person.
okay.
I just did scribbles,
Me too.
colored scribbles.
I could really sense the syncopation, beats, which probably says something about my personality. That is what I could hear the beautiful lyrical and then the staccato, but it was often the syncopated notes, kind of, almost like they were pounding in my heart.
That vibration.
I was a viola player too, and that's all we did was syncopated stuff. I've been trained
Brings
for
back
it.
memories.
Kind of pictured clouds floating across the sky.
I pictured a sunset, a very vibrant sunset with, pillars and crepuscular rays and different optical things and sunsets.
I drew a castle because I thought of royalty. Doesn't look like a castle.
I do a sunrise, a new day. I do,
A new day, so that's kind of what you felt like, this possibility, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
except it doesn't really look like it, but I know it is.
You know. I think this was used by Disney in Fantasia. It's a scene where like shepherds and stuff, remember that? I think that's it. It is a visual kind of nature kind of thing, pastoral, means like herds of sheep or something, I don't know, being a shepherd, right? So maybe you don't care for classical music, but whatever, I think this just is an example about how the arts, and we each have our preferences, how music, drawing, painting, how many of you go to art museums? How do you feel in an art museum when you leave there? I feel open, lifted up, like life has different possibilities or something, And so as we get older, remaining open may be a little bit of a challenge, and so giving us this opportunity, exposing ourselves to art. How many of you feel you're an artist yourself, whether you draw or play an instrument or sing or make things, right? Dance in the kitchen.
I was gonna say, keep going, you haven't done anything.
I thought of dancers, I was drawing dancers on there.
Well, I do some painting, but I don't think of myself as an artist, I don't know why, maybe sometime.
That's just as well, not to lift yourself up too high, but
Yeah,
just doing it.
just-
How does
Right,
it make
just
you
do it.
feel?
Oh, I enjoy it hugely,
Uh-huh.
hugely.
And there are certainly lots of examples in some of these books about these 100-year-old people who are so vibrant because they're artists, they're weavers or painters or all these things. So if you find something that you like that lifts you up, so there's lots of other things besides the arts that can do that for us. So gardening, yes,
Watching birds,
pardon,
watching birds.
watching birds, yes. Decorating, creating cards, even laundry.
Does not lift me up.
Define that.
Does not lift me up.
Neatly folded.
Cleaning,
My girlfriend just loves to hang things on the line and feel the fresh air and the freshness of things drying out on the line. It's inspiring.
Cooking possibly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nature is one that I think all of us have enjoyed, and we're going to take a break, and in the second part, we're going to talk a little bit, especially about how nature can enrich us in the same way. Sports and exercise are another thing. Where, you know, the people talk about the runner's high, or in the basketball, they're in the flow. It's like they're in just a kind of, it takes them away without, so keep moving.
I think what you described in the choir too is in the flow musically.
Uh-huh.
You know, I can sometimes just feel our church is a choir by itself. And I can just feel lost in the flow of praising God and just the voices.
Certainly religion has been a source of inspiration for people over the ages. Something that lifts us up, makes us think of something greater than ourselves.
Caring for an animal, a pet.
Yes. Okay, well,
Einstein used sailing. He liked to sail a sailboat in this little lake in Princeton, and he didn't know how to swim.
it was risky.
I think like skiing, downhill skiing too, it's just the body moving through space so freely.
Yes.
It's probably like sailing.
Yes. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll come back at 6:45.
I did
Yeah.
but I did sign it.
Thanks a lot.
Nice job.
Gotta conform.
Playing with children has a great delays in my life.
There you go.
So they just have that joy and wonder and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Naturally, like we did when the whole world was new too.
What kind is it?
Yeah, it reminds us that that's possible. So do you get that opportunity?
I may get it.
I don't think it has
Yeah,
kids.
well, with nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews and stuff.
So.
I was a high school teacher.
No, it has been, it's not the only.
The best job.
Energized.
Get paid for that.
It's hard. I don't think it's. Look on the side.
My addition to the art class,
This is right on the
I feel I'm pretty good at arranging art with other kids.
Yep.
Really good. Drink it every morning.
With the
caffeine.
The,
But I do enjoy photography.
energy, what is it, tangerine, energy tea, I like those.
Yep,
I
that's what
like
I
those
got.
very much, yeah.
Usually once a
What I
week.
drink every morning is Celestial Seasonings morning filter. I've been drinking that for years and years, I really love it. I
Can't
love
bolster.
coffee, but it upsets your stomach, so I don't do it anymore.
Never been a coffee drinker, but boy, tea I gotta have it.
We do, I do, probably
So then they
at least
were,
4 if not 5
they
cups
weren't
of
able to
tea.
travel that far.
We had
Different teas.
One, two, three teas, but anyway, that's fun for us.
It's literally going to a buying club and you get a case of stories.
I'm a fan of
That's always.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It used to be more common, I don't know, for a while it felt like they were phasing it out, I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was of course desperate to like it, I was desperate, exactly, but now it's, I find it here and there, and, you know, I can buy several years. So I'm
In class,
I
photos.
could make do with that, I like the
Putting all three subjects in my web file.
and there are other ones.
That's what happened. Coffee shop.
And I always had that feeling, you know, people don't understand that this is really extraordinary for us.
Oh, I don't know.
The farm where they were close to the road and a cow and his tongue broke out. That was his pig.
I didn't see it in the paper.
The Hill Band are playing at the high school.
Now we have another new.
Yes,
Great.
it's not a Christmas concert, it's in December, but it's close to this.
They journeyed up to our house
That far apart.
last week.
We didn't see it,
One little dinner.
I don't know, I look at the, I don't know what it's called, the teal thing. Yeah, I
5 years ago.
don't know, I haven't looked at the last 2 pages.
Smaller project, just some shelving, decorative shelving to hold our collection.
Whether or not it's in, I don't know.
So I'm gonna say about 10 years ago, I'm gonna drive to Hardwood's place, so I'm 41. I don't know, how many people I know I can work for. And he that's good.
I feel like squeezing it.
And he said, I'm gonna make my own urn, a box to hold my ashes over.
That's always fun.
So that was a great idea, I kept the wood, you know.
I've always enjoyed working with Judith, the painter.
Just never quite got around to
I
that.
toss out ideas and she tosses out ideas, but I don't paint, she paints. No,
So
like
David
Judith
called
Waller
me and said,
from the, you know, you were there for the mountain exhibit,
build
I
that
think.
box. So Jim,
Yeah,
Andy, Dominic.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't remember the name.
yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with her on a number of big shows like that.
Oh, yeah?
We always have collaborated on the ideas and sat for hours just talking about it. And then she gets in, you know, she paints it. And then if there's like if it's an earth science topic, like if the fault isn't in the right place, I'll coach her on some of those things, you know, or how to get the clouds right. But I just can't do it myself.
Music and then we had a.
And then working with kids, she is marvelous. We did the mountain thing with kids and now colors just so much
I
fun.
just put the balloon on top of that.
The kids take this, I mean, they take this kind of assignment, they just go.
And
When you got
I
older,
think that's not where that came from. You know what was
So
let's say,
let's go.
alternator or something. So Helen is going along with us, she'll probably be able to paint a nest over that for us, for the loom to sit in. So it will be a pretty showy piece. All hands on board contributing to it.
Welcome back.
Just doing my business here, get my phone number.
Okay, good.
She was doing creative stuff.
I was,
Yeah.
I was experiencing it, but I wasn't
Yeah.
doing it. I couldn't do those splits if I wanted to. My granddaughters are in the dance team, so.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
That's
fun.
Oh, yeah, and I thought, yeah, you girls do this while you still can.
So we've been talking about ways in which we are inspired and feel our creativity grows. And I've heard, you know, what other things came up? I heard about photography, woodworking, decorating, putting things in a certain order in your home, watching dance. So I think, you know, as we get older, especially, if we feel those periods of stagnation, loneliness, where we're not feeling it, purposely being involved in those things is helpful. Now, the other thing that's universally, I think, enriching for people is nature, just being out in nature. It can relax us, kind of, it's mysterious in a way, we're kind of opens our doors to just thinking and reflecting and many indigenous cultures and spiritual traditions recognize 4 natural sanctuaries where we can remember and come home to who we are: the desert, the mountains, the waters, and the woods. And maybe you can think of which one of those is your favorite, but which of those have been places where you feel enriched and opened. The desert, mountains, waters, and woods we certainly have available around here. In Japan, they have been quite good at studying this scientifically, and there's this practice, forest bathing, or it's called Shinrin-yoku, that they've been developing. In fact, it was introduced in Japan in 1982 as a program for stress management of workers. So they wanted to keep their workers working. And so they've been studying this since then, and they found that being out in nature in this way may prevent cancer, prevents hypertension and heart disease, manages stress, stabilizes the autonomic nervous system, improves sleep, reduces anxiety, depression, fatigue, and confusion, and increases vigor. I think this is self-evident. Most of us say, yeah, that makes sense, but they proved it scientifically too. And a way to do that intentionally, that I'd like you, why I asked you to bring flashlights and a jacket tonight, is, now it's dark outside, there's, you know, it's not quite the same as being on a nice sunny day out in the woods, but it's a nice setting here, and I think it's fairly safe. There's walkways and some lights, so if you have your jacket and your flashlight, it might be handy. I've got a couple of extra flashlights. And Rebecca has unlocked that door so we can go out that way. So I'm gonna have us take about 15 minutes to walk outside by ourselves. And while we're out there, I would like us to pay attention to our senses. So sight. We'll notice darkness, but will we notice light, color, patterns? We'll notice our hearing. Will we hear waves or traffic or our own breathing? Touch. We'll notice our feet touching the pavement, you know, like we did with did we do walking meditation in this class? No. Well, we'll notice just the movement of walking. Or if we're standing still, what it feels like to stand there. Well, maybe if there's a breeze, we'll notice the breeze on our cheeks. We'll maybe notice if we feel cool or warm. Perhaps there'll be some smells to notice. Taste, I don't know, but so just walking outside and intentionally noticing our senses. Will you try this with me? Any concerns or questions?
I'm staying on
Can
the
I
path.
be with you?
Yeah.
You can go anywhere you like, but don't go too far. So I'll have the bell out here. And I'll like, the river's right down there. Don't go in the river.
Listen for the river. Hear it.
You're too close.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so right over there, yeah.
Suppose we could go sit.
I guess I'm going.
Bye.
Behind you.
Don't you have an app for that?
Oh, there's the river right there.
Yeah, you can see the reflection.
Okay.
Right.
I'll practice on. I can get along without you as soon as I get it cold.
Me, I have an egg late.
Whoa, that's nice. This is pretty bright though. I'm almost surprised at how bright this
Yes,
is.
yeah, I am too.
No, not that was cheaper. Yeah, for taxes. Okay.
So like, you know, Martindale Field. So, chill.
Boy, I could have visited with you all morning. It's been a long time, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you ladies wanna come out to the house a little bit after. I don't know how you were driving in the country at night, but. Hubby's working land, he should be done by then.
We'll see what Chris says. I don't care. I haven't eaten supper yet.
You haven't ate supper yet? Huh? You could go get pizza or?
Well, I didn't say you have to feed.
No, I mean. We could.
Come out by me too, it's closer. Oh. Busy day.
What was your lunch?
Good, okay. Like, she's leaving for Florida now. She'll be gone till she decides to come home.
So is her husband still?
No, he passed away before COVID already. He was kind of like Kate, lots and lots of issues and,
So. She goes down by herself?
her daughter lives in Florida
Okay.
and, her son-in-law is a pilot, so then they watch the flights. She goes with Alliant and she flies into Orlando, so it's nonstop. And they pick her up. Found out her son-in-law is a pilot and he does a lot of, well, gone days at a time.
Mhm.
Flies out of New York, but, he's had another woman for the last 20 years. She finally found that out, the daughter finally found it out. They're going through a divorce,
Oh, boy.
right?
How do you swallow that?
I didn't know there was a dam out there.
Hmm.
I wasn't aware of the dam out there.
Yeah, well, I have both. Two of them. There's one there. Down there, and then there's one over on State Street.
By the,
Yeah, that one I know, but this one I've never noticed it.
Really?
Well, how often do I get downtown here, really?
Yeah.
I guess I have enough nature in my life.
that's what I was thinking.
Yep. I can't believe I never noticed those two benches, those two things before though.
That's cute.
They know something with that. You're a little older than Dad.
Cute hat. I like it. I like your hat.
I love hats. Thank you. I have about, I don't know how many that are all kind of the same.
Is that a felted bowl?
Mhm.
Is that made over by, what's her name?
No. Made by Nine West.
Okay,
Oh, that's,
Bleeding Heart or something like that?
no,
yeah, that's what I was thinking about, but it's not.
Mm-mm.
Nine West is Coles.
I was
isn't it?
just, I was
That's it.
thinking Kohl's too.
Kohl's, yes.
That's cute.
Now we got a gray one,
I look terrible in hats.
gosh.
My nose looks too big.
I know, you just have a hat face or you don't have a hat
Yeah,
face.
exactly.
And I've got a hat face. I can remember 7th grade wearing hats. Nobody else wore hats, but I wore hats. A Ringo hat, you know. But Did you ladies go outside?
Mhm.
You had enough, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, I got cold.
Do you remember Ray and Rita Miller? Like Ray Miller, the reporter's parents? No. Yeah.
Is that the right name? Ray's mother was Rita, huh? And because he's Ray Jr., so it was Ray and, anyway.
Rita. So there's a bench out there, a memory bench out there, which I knew was there for them.
Mhm.
But they've got 2 trees planted, and one is her, a little stone on the bottom, and it's got her picture and her birthday and all that stuff on it. And then on the bottom it says, ask your dad. And then I went over and looked at the other one, and it's Ray's, and it says, what did your mom say?
I bet they got, because they had a lot of kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was by Barb Schley's, and I just tried some tree bathing, and just wonderful memories. I didn't know her, but I knew her husband, because he was in the ski group that once a week he'd go somewhere.
Okay.
And he would just, what I'd call shoot the hill, he'd get up to the top, and he'd just shoot it. It wasn't the way most people ski. Otherwise, if they got there, he could stop, because he could stop at the bottom. But we all just said, Bob has an interesting way of skiing. It's not exactly
But he's gonna hit a tree.
proficient. I don't think that ever happened, but, so it was just, kind of, like you say, those memories of those people in our community.
They were, I was one that lived out in the Browns area, and they were some of the pillars and neighborhoods in the neighborhood, you know, the cooks and stuff like that, and they both worked in neighborhoods.
Oh, that's how you know him so well.
Yeah. That was kinda cool. And I can hear her saying that.
Go ask your father.
Yeah. Go ask your father.
What did your mother say? That's precious.
It is.
Is there a homeless population in Chilton? I find myself wondering, those little corners under the bridge there?
Did you see someone there?
No, but I thought, that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
That's where they would be, huh?
Yeah, I would. I guess Dick. Too bad. Yeah.
Nasty coffee you have there.
I guess we're all back. Good. That's, I'm happy
Nobody's
about that.
Do you feel responsible for us?
Right. Yeah, I should have had you sign a waiver. I forgot to mention as a meditation practice, this is best done silently, but that's okay. So what did you notice?
The water.
Sparkling.
Sparkling
Reflection.
reflections, yes.
A house that the third story of the house was being utilized, there was light in the window.
Lights in the windows.
And I thought, wonder what's going on in that house. How many families live in it, or,
The church clock striking 7.
Yeah. Did you plan that?
That was a moment for me too, yes.
divine intervention.
I smelled wood smoke
Okay, good.
and, like decaying leaves or just that hubris coming up from the soil.
Wow,
I sat on a cold bench.
cold. There you go. Good.
I saw blue dots on the sidewalk here when we walked out, and I was wondering what that was from.
Uh-huh.
The moon was pretty.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The
very
moon was
pretty,
bright.
yes.
The sound of the water running over the dam.
And there were different degrees of darkness. I mean, it wasn't just dark, it was like dark here, but
Really here. And the rocks along the river. You know, I walked up that wooden thing, I was shocked at the fact that it goes up. And the rocks are all sorts of sizes.
It's a beautiful
All
spot
sorts of
here,
looks.
isn't it?
Yes.
When that church bell chimed, it was like a shock, you know, like bring, wow. And right at that moment, I noticed, I don't know how many of you notice this, that I can only really notice one thing at a time. Like that was there, and then the lights, then the bell, but it was like they come in little spicules or something of sensations. And especially, and then we'll go about describing these things to ourselves, like we would talk about it, but even if you weren't talking, you were saying, oh, there's a house, there's a sparkling, we'd like to put it in words, which is good.
I found a structure I never realized. It's kind of like the walkway. They then have steps, concrete steps, and a nice brick. I actually thought it might be a tunnel and go under the road, but the steps are.
No, it just
Yeah,
goes up.
I never, it's
forever.
probably been there forever.
It
I
has been
never
since I was
noticed.
in high school.
I never
A long
noticed.
time ago.
I never, but it's beautiful.
It goes nowhere,
Well, it goes up the hill.
up the hill.
I'm not sure why it was originally built over there, what the history is on that. I did notice there's a tree over there with the leaves are still on it,
Yeah.
and they
I
were
hugged
rustling
that
in the
tree for
wind.
about 5 minutes, just, I tried tree bathing. Yeah. It was dedicated to Barb, SCHAFF. Schaff.
Do you get a feeling of being restored?
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know, what other words could you put it in?
Calm.
Yes,
I always call, I've been a gardener for ages and I'm outside all the time with my dogs and I always say that's my therapy. I don't need a therapist because I just go outside. And I know people who hate going outside and never leave their homes and I don't connect with them.
Yeah.
I really find that, I'm like, really? Really? I've just been an outdoor person my whole life.
I agree with that. I could spend the whole day out in my yard.
Yeah.
But people that have interest in the house don't need to be outside.
True. It
I think-
depends where your interest lies.
Exactly.
Wherever you are, if you can take the time to just pause and notice what's there right at that moment, it can be so rewarding. It doesn't have to be in the mountains or at the seashore, doesn't it?
On the flip side of that, it can be kind of depressing if you take notice of what you should be doing instead of.
That's the thing, yeah.
You want to be here now.
When you're out walking, there's nothing to do out there, is
Right.
there? Although, at home, you'll notice that you have to do something.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I love going on vacation. Think of my chores I have to do, right?
It reminds me of a phrase that says, we're human beings, not human doings.
Yeah, that's so true, yeah.
I use that as an excuse. I just have to be.
There's this form of therapy called mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, and that's sort of one of the basis for that is that we're doing all the time in our minds, doing, and I notice that I'm planning something usually, and just noticing that and just being, whatever that means, being with what is right now. Bringing us back to the moment is so restorative, so healing. It gives us that energy to go out there and do good in the world, I think, in our own small way. You know, maybe the only way we're doing good in the world is keeping our garden cultivated, which is wonderful in itself, you know, in our own small way. Well, that's what I have for you tonight. We'll close with some meditation, and you can stay and talk. I have a handout that kind of goes over some of these things. Keep up with your practice at home. If you want, try these things. Try to see how the arts and nature might be tools for you to sustain you and to build your creativity. Notice how this affects you in your life. I'd be interested to hear more about your own meditation. So if you feel like doing a little journaling and writing down things that you're noticing about your meditation practice, about your life, something that relates to maybe the things we've been talking about in class. I'd like to hear some more of that next week. We got 2 more weeks. We'll be done before Thanksgiving. I've got some interesting thoughts I want to give you the next couple of weeks, so keep coming. I thank you, and we'll close with some sitting meditation. You know, a little bit quieter tonight, which is kind of nice in its own way, isn't it? That we don't have to talk that much. Sitting, their eyes open or closed, just sitting here, resting. Letting the breath, the rhythm of the breath sustain us. And maybe noticing the thoughts flowing too, like waves. Or like the flickering lights on the water, or the flow of the breeze, just noticing what's happening this moment. Thanks for your practice.
Thank you.
Jim, thanks for using your pen.
Pardon?
Did they hand it out?
Yeah. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
So geologically speaking, why is the Manitowoc River where it is?
You know, I started reading
Think
the book,
within marshes?
I had 3 chapters read, and then I started another book. That's terrible, that's
what
been
I did.
a guilty.
That's what I
did too.
There's other branches.
I can't do that.
Well, the bottom line is,
The,
it's in the lowest place for that type of skill position.
Oh, Kristen Hanna, she's a popular author, yeah.
Although a lot of
Thank
people out here think that there was
yeah, I started that.
only go south. Right.
Well, it's fiction,
And they go,
so I always find that easy
Hey,
to
there's a lot of things.
right?
They always slow down, that they